Hi everyone, it's Andy. Welcome back to the third and final part of my Slimming World Struggles videos. The first two have gone really well. I had some really positive comments on those, so thank you very much. I think from the comments it seems that a lot of you have been taking away something really positive from those videos, which is what they're designed for. And I just wanted to do these videos because I've seen a lot of people on social media were struggling with one aspect of the plan or another, and I just wanted to take those things that people were struggling with, try and look at it from a different point of view, give you some ideas, give you some tips that may get you back on track, get you motivated again and fired up to move forward and get the success that you need. So before I start this video, just to reiterate, because I don't think I did it on the second video, but I want to do it on this one. I'm not endorsed by Slimming World. I'm not sponsored by Slimming World. I'm not anything to do with Slimming World. I'm just a guy who's on a Slimming World journey of my own, and I just want everybody to do well. I don't want to be the one that just goes forward and has a great journey and gets to where I want to be. I want to bring as many people as I can with me. I want you to succeed as much as I do. So that's the reason that I make these videos. That's the reason I wanted to do these videos, because I know that so many of you are struggling, and I just wanted to try and offer just the smallest bit of help that may get you back on track and get you re-motivated and re-energized to really go for it and get to the place where you want to be. So that's why I'm doing it. I'm going to look that way every now and again because I've got a nice little list of stuff down here. So let's have a look. Let's start with this one. Portion size. Worried about eating too much. A lot of people have said that because obviously with Slimming World you can eat quite a lot of food if you so wish, and people are worried that they're eating too much, and they look at the portion size and they think, wow, I'm eating too much. And I did have a question, I think it was on Instagram, someone asked me if I knew the science behind Slimming World and how it works. I have no idea. I'm not a scientist. Like I said, I'm not affiliated with Slimming World. I'm not part of the Slimming World team. But all I can tell you is, whatever the science is, whatever they know that we don't, it works. So when you first sit down, when you first go and join group, and if you don't join a group, you obviously you don't hear the initial consultant talk where they take you through the plan, and they will tell you that you can eat free food and speed food, but that's followed up with the words until you're comfortably full. Now, if you're very big like me, you wouldn't have an off switch. I never used to have an off switch. I could have a huge plate of food in front of me and I would just keep going and going and going, and there was no off switch. My body didn't have time to send the signal to my brain to say, whoa, stop, because I would just eat so fast and I would just eat huge portions. So since Slimming World, the thing is now, on several occasions I've left things on my plate which I never used to do. I would never leave food, ever. You know, that was almost like, my God, it's a travesty. You can't leave food on your plate, you know, eat it. And I would, because I couldn't leave it there. But a few times now I've left things behind. I've left, you know, food behind on my plate, and I've really learned about portion size. And here's the thing, I said this before in one of my videos, I can't remember which one, where I was talking about food, and I said that you're not going to win any prizes for making a spaghetti bolognese mountain on your plate and eating it. You know, you're not going to get an extra badge, you're not going to get a Body Magic certificate, you're not going to get a gold star. There's nothing, you know, to be given in recognition for this huge mountain of pasta that you've made that you're going to eat. And if you look at your plate and it looks too much, chances are it is. So don't be afraid to leave some, don't be afraid to take some off, but also don't be afraid to put more on. You know, so if you've dished yourself up your dinner and you think, that's not going to fill me up, put some more on there. You know, that's how the plan works. But the important thing is, like I said, is you eat until you're comfortably full. So don't eat to that point where, you know, I used to, where I'd eat sometimes so much that I would feel so uncomfortable for like the next couple of hours. I couldn't move. I'd be sitting in the chair. I'd be like, I would just literally be, and I think it sometimes felt like if there was a chance that I could burst, I would sometimes feel that way, that I'd eaten so much, because when my brain caught up with my body, it just, everything was in a meltdown. It was just like, what have you done? It's like my brain would be like, oh my God, why would you do that? So yeah, don't be afraid to eat a bigger portion, as long as you're not stuffed, as long as you don't feel to the point where you're going to be sick, or you just feel physically, like, oh my God, I've eaten so much food. Don't get to that point, but you can eat quite a lot of food. You can eat a reasonable portion of food and still lose weight. It is amazing. People look at my Instagram pictures and friends and family and people that I know from other businesses and stuff, and they'll be like, you eat all that stuff? Like, a friend of mine saw the picture of my double bacon cheeseburger with chips and coleslaw and salad, and he was like, you eat that and you lose weight? I was like, yeah. And the cooked breakfast and all this other cool stuff, and people can't believe it, and I think sometimes I find it difficult to believe that I eat all this stuff and yet I still lose weight, but that's how it works. So yeah, don't be afraid of the portion size. Don't let it worry you. Don't think that you're going to have a gain, or you're going to put on 5 stone because you're eating bigger portions. As long as you're eating portions of the right stuff, as long as it's a third to half of your plate is speed, and you've got free food on there, and you're using your sins wisely, you're going to lose weight. So don't be scared of putting food on your plate. But like I said, also don't be afraid to take stuff off of there if it looks like you've put a little bit too much. These ones can kind of go together. Someone said about emotional eating and rewards with food. So emotional eating is a tricky one. There's probably a video in itself, because I think as human beings we eat for so many reasons. We eat if we're happy, we eat if we're sad, we eat if we're angry. If you're like me and you've got mental health issues and you suffer with depression or anxiety, on the really bad days you probably don't care. You eat all kinds of stuff. So we eat for a number of different reasons. If we go to social functions like birthdays and there's Christmas and there's anniversaries and weddings and christenings, and all these celebrations revolve around food. There will be food there in some form, whether it's an official meal or a buffet or something. There will be food. And then when we feel bad, we eat. If we've split up with a husband or a wife or a partner, and the ice cream comes out, the biscuits, that's when you're liable to go through 2 packets of Jaffa Cakes. Oh, why did she do this to me? Oh, I can't stand him. Why would he do that to me? While you're shoveling a pot of like Haagen-Dazs down your face. And that's how we as human beings operate. We will eat for a number of reasons. So I think the thing with emotional eating is you have to look at the root cause. And the only way I can really explain is like, I look at things like emotional eating as a tooth filling. So like, sometimes when you have to have a root canal and you go and first of all they'll do some work, and then they'll put in a temporary filling. And the temporary filling does a really good job because it's just in there and you're not feeling any pain because they've already drilled out the nerve and stuff. And sometimes, you can leave that in there for quite a while because everything's going well, and you just ignore it. And then at some point, the filling might fall out, and then it starts to, maybe you didn't notice it fall out, and then food starts to get in there, and it gets infected, you get an abscess, and now suddenly it's hurting again. So the tooth's never really going to be fixed until you've actually sorted the root of the problem. So you have to go in there and sort out the roots, and then put in the proper, replacement structure to make sure that tooth doesn't continue to hurt. So I think with our emotions, we need to look at the root of what's causing the problem. Why is it that we come out of group having lost £5 and the first thing we want to do is go and celebrate with a takeaway? You know, we go to the curry house, we go to the Chinese, we get fish and chips because we're like, yay, we lost £5, let's have a Chinese. What? And then the other side of the coin is we've been to group and we've maybe put on £1 or two and we come out and we're miserable and we go, oh, you know, what a terrible week. I'm off down the Chinese, I'm going to have a curry, I'm going to get McDonald's on the way home, and then we sit and we have a takeaway. Why do we do that? What is it inside of us that, whether the scales have been kind or whether the scales haven't been kind, we go trotting off down to the curry house or the Chinese or the fish and chip shop, and we either celebrate with food or commiserate with food. And sometimes we just need to look inside what's making us feel that way, you know, and how can we combat that and make a better decision. And sometimes in a place of, especially in a place of pain or anger or upset or distress, it's difficult to make good decisions. We know what good decisions are, and we know at the time that we're not making a good decision, but it's almost like a switch in our head has switched on and completely taken away all rationale, and we continue on and we make the bad decision and we get the takeaway and we do whatever we're going to do, or you drink a little bit more wine, or you have a few vodkas, or whatever it is you're going to do. Even though you know that that's a bad decision, we do it anyway. So sometimes the root of the problem could be way back in your life. It could even go back to your childhood. But sometimes you have to, you know, look at the root of an issue, what makes you feel, or what is it in that given moment that's making you feel like you do. Maybe you know, your husband, your wife, your partner has said something or done something to frustrate you. So what can you do to make that situation better, rather than going and grabbing for the Jaffa cakes or grabbing for the ice cream or drinking 3 glasses of wine? You know, what else can you do? And I think rewards, it's putting in a system that's not food. You know, why would you reward yourself with food? Food is the thing that got us in trouble in the first place. If you're my size, if you're really, really big, food brought you to where you are. So, you know, the reason I'm as big as I am is because of food. It's because of bad choices. It's because of the things that I, as a person, have chosen to eat. No one has tied me to a chair and shoved burgers and fish and curry and Chinese down my face. I did it. You know, and it's food that brought me to this point. So now, why would I reward myself with food? The one thing that brought me to this point of unhappiness. So I think for rewards, it's finding something. It's almost like going back to being a child. You know, I've just done it recently with my little boy. My little boy's 3. And when we were potty training him and toilet training him, we put in place a reward system. Nothing fantastic. My fiance drew a little chart on a piece of paper, and we got some stickers, and every time he went to the toilet and did a wee, he got a sticker, and at the end of each line the reward was a Hot Wheels car. The supermarket sold them for £1. He started to realise that the end of the line equaled car, and he'd quite merrily trot himself off to the toilet, have a wee, have a number 2, come back, go, where's my sticker, put it on, and he could see himself moving along, and then his reward was the car. He's now got a big transporter truck full of cars because that reward system worked. So it's finding a reward system that works for you but doesn't involve food. So reward yourself with something that you've been meaning to do, something you've been meaning to get. If there's that top, you've had your eye on those new pair of trainers, those new shoes, the dress, the suit, the top, the trousers, you know, trainers, whatever it is, or you wanted to go and see a comedian, or you wanted to go and see a band, or there's, you know, something, a CD, a game, you know, whatever. Focus on that. Have that be your reward, or do something even cooler and reward someone else, and then you get a double hit of feel good because you're losing the weight you want to lose, and you're doing something good. So maybe have a jar in your front room, and for every £1 that you lose, put £1 in the jar and give that money to charity, your favourite charity, or a charity that means something to you, or someone in your family. Donate to the charity. Maybe put £1 in a jar and give it to your kids, so your kids can get excited, and you get your kids on side, and they'll be supporting you because they know that every time you lose weight, you're going to put some money in that jar, and they know that that jar belongs to them. So they're now going to get in on your journey and share on your journey and help you and support you, because they're going to be like, Daddy, come on, want some more money in my jar. All right. And that spurs you on, because you want to get money in the jar, because you know it's for your kids. So you can reward yourself in other ways that aren't necessarily for you, but you're still going to get the reward of the weight loss, and then you're going to get the second reward from the pleasure of either giving the money to your kids or giving your money to charity. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a food reward. There are other ways to reward yourself to get that endorphin hit that we crave, the dopamines and all that stuff that make us feel good. You can get that without food. Fussy eating. So yeah, I guess there's a lot of people out there that don't like a lot of things. My fiance doesn't like eggs, doesn't like anything spicy, doesn't like mushrooms. There's a whole bunch of stuff that she doesn't like, and she's not the only one. There's probably plenty of people out there that don't really care too much for dairy. They don't like yogurts, they don't like quark, or they don't like this, they don't like that. But if you pick up your book and you read, there's a whole load of stuff. If you don't like eggs, then so you're going to miss out on a few things. You can't have scrambled egg on toast. You can't make a nice crustless quiche because you don't like eggs. You can't have boiled eggs in your salad. But there's other things that you can eat. There's a whole world of food out there. And this all comes back to when I said on the original video that we were going to say the word over and over again, plan. It comes down to planning. You just got to look through your book. Look through all the free foods that you can eat and find the things that you like. And then look for recipes. If you really like courgettes, just search Slimming World meals with courgettes, or Slimming World vegetarian meals, or Slimming World, whatever it is that you like. I'm pretty sure you will find, if you put peppers, Slimming World meals with peppers, I'm pretty sure you would find a Slimming World meal with peppers somewhere. If you don't like pasta, substitute with something else, maybe like quinoa or couscous, or try and make a substitution for something you don't like for something you do. And I think if you plan, you sit down and you really take some time to think about it, and when I say time, more than 5 minutes. Don't just scoot through the book and think, well, there's nothing really in there for me, I don't like this, I don't like that. My fiance follows Slimming World just fine alongside me, because we sat down and we looked through recipe books and we looked at things that she would like to eat that I don't mind eating, and we found a whole ton of meals that we can eat together that don't involve mushrooms and eggs and fish and spicy and all the other stuff that she doesn't like, but there's plenty of other things that we can eat that she will eat. So it's just down to planning and looking at the foods that you do like, and then finding a way to incorporate them into your plan. Nothing is impossible. I've said this before, nothing's impossible unless we allow it to be. So if you allow it to be impossible, it will be impossible. But sit down with your book, go through all the free foods, and I pretty much guarantee you will find something that you can eat and get the weight loss results that you want. On plan 100% and not losing. Now, there's a delicate way to answer this question, and there's the not so delicate way. So I'll go, because I'm brave. I'm a professional. I can do this. I'll go for the not so brave answer. The not so delicate. I think that sometimes people say they've been 100% on plan, but they've been 100% on plan in their mind. you know. And I've done it myself. You know, you say to yourself you go into your group and you're supercharged. You think, I've been so good this week. I've not had so many sins. I've done really well. I've drunk loads of water and I've done walking. And I've been to the gym. And you get on the scales and you've maintained, or you've put on a pound, and you think, that can't be right. Rah, Slimming World. Rah. I've done so well. I've been 100% on plan. You know, no. I think that, don't get me wrong, some people, I think when you're getting towards your target and you're a little bit leaner and you're into that last few pounds, that last maybe 5, 7, 10 pounds, then like we said before about everybody's body's different, and your body will try and retain fat. It would rather give away anything else. It'll give away muscle, it'll give away water, it'll hang on to fat. So in that last little bit, maybe you could be 100% on plan. You could be, you know, or maybe, you know, your body's hanging on to water as you build muscle. You know, there's a few reasons that it could be. But if you're my size, or you need to lose 5, 7, 10, 15 stone or whatever, if you think you've been 100% on plan and you've put weight on or you've maintained, I would be 99% certain that you've done something wrong. Or, like I said, you've been 100% on plan in your mind. And I've done it. I've done it before. I've said to myself, I've been really good. But there's so many things that can make such a big impact. Even things as simple as not measuring milk. When you have a cup of coffee and you go, poop, and you put your milk in. If you haven't measured it, you're just guessing. And semi-skim milk, for your A choice, you get 350 mils. But, you know, but sorry, skim milk is 350 mils as your A choice. But skim milk is 1.5 sins per 100 mils. I think it's an average of 50 to 70 mils in a cup of coffee. So if you're just going, bloop, and merrily putting milk in coffee and going, you know, it's a cup of coffee, doesn't matter, and you've had 5, 6, 7 coffees over the course of the day, those little hidden sins are going to add up. You know, I do it all the time with ketchup. I don't measure ketchup, I just go every now and again. That's not going to work, you know, because I'm not measuring it. It's a level tablespoon of ketchup. But how many of us get the tablespoon and do that? I don't. You probably don't. So we're not being 100% on plan if we don't weigh, we don't measure. If we're cooking by eye, you know, yeah, that's 40 grams of cheese. What? Stick it on the scales. How do you know it's 40 grams? 40 grams in my head would be like that, when in fact it's probably like that. You can't measure by eye. So, you know, we say we've been 100% on plan, but have we really? Have we really? Did we count that little bag of Quavers that we had because we were out and about and we couldn't find anything to eat, so we grabbed a bag of Quavers? Maybe we forgot that we had them, and then suddenly we look back over the week and we go, oh yeah, we went out to so-and-so, didn't we? And I had a bag of Quavers and a Curly Whirly. That was 12 sins, forgot to write down. It's really easily done. So simple. It's so easily done. And we can believe that we've had 100% week, but all these little things, those little splashes of milk, that little bit of ketchup, that doing things by eye and not measuring, all those little things just keep adding and adding and adding and adding and adding and adding and adding. And when you're having sins already, and you start, these little things are adding and they're adding to your sins and your sins and your sins and your sins, you can see how it can get out of control, and that can lead to a maintain or a gain when we believe wholeheartedly that we've had a really good Slimming World week. So yeah, just get back to basics. Weigh, measure, don't guess. You know, don't do things by eye. And I sometimes have to do this. I go back, you know, and I do measure cheese now. I don't cut cheese anymore by eye. I measure cheese. I measure milk. And I'll show you another video. I'm going to do another tips video. And one of the tips is going to be about milk and how to measure milk so you know what you're doing, and how to use your A choices depending on what you're doing for the day. So I'll do that in another tips video. But yeah, so I would say if you think you've had a 100% day and or 100% week and it hasn't gone right, then you've probably done something wrong. Look back at what you've done. make sure you go back to basics and weigh and measure. And if you do that, you should be good. I haven't got many left. This might be it, actually. A few people asked about meals without healthy extras. So you don't really have to use your healthy extras for meals if you don't want to. I choose to use my healthy extras in some meals. I mean, obviously, if you're having spaghetti bolognese or pasta bake, I would use my A choice as cheese to put on top of that. Or if I'm having burgers, again, I would use my A choice to put the cheese in my burgers. But my B choices, I tend to use, my B choice is normally bread, because I will have bread in the morning, or if I don't have bread in the morning, I'll have overnight oats or baked oats, and that will use my B choice. But you don't really have to use your healthy extras in meals. So I don't know whether people are thinking that they need to incorporate the healthy extras into meals. Healthy extras are designed, it's the word extra. It doesn't say, healthy meal addition or anything. It's a healthy extra. So it's an extra thing to eat in your day. So if you wanted to just eat, I don't know the sins off the top of my head, I'm not even going to try and guess, but you can get the little Baby Bell cheeses. If you just wanted to eat a couple of those as your healthy extra, just eat them. You don't have to have cheese or whatever as in a meal. And if you didn't want to eat bread or oats or something, if you just wanted to have a couple of, I know a lot of people use their B choices for hi-fi bars, or there's tins of soup that you can use. Some people have a tin of soup for lunch. So you don't have to have it actually incorporated into your meal. They're just extras. So just have them how you want to have them. Do what's right for you. Like I said, my B choice is normally bread because it suits me to have it in the morning, or oats or whatever. And my A is normally milk or cheese, depending on what I'm having for dinner. I'll cater my milk choices and how much tea I drink. I'll regulate that by what I'm having for dinner, because I may need my cheese. So but I'll explain about this whole A choice thing in the tips video. So yeah. Don't worry about healthy extras there, just do what you want to do. So that's about it. I hope you find these videos useful, and I hope they've given you some tips and ideas to help you along on your Slimming World journey. And give it a thumbs up if you liked it, drop some comments and let me know. As I said, I'm going to be doing some more tips videos really soon, so look out for those. Don't forget to check out my column every Monday on pinchofnom.com, and yeah, I'll put all the linkies below. So a new column will be up at some point tomorrow. And yeah, be nice to each other. Life is always worth living, and until I speak to you beautiful people again, see ya.